So we're gonna drizzle the olive oil onto the kale chips. And you don't really need to put that much, but you know, just a little bit. I just poured so much on there.
Hi everybody, welcome to ER TV. My name is Mariah Lopez.
And I'm Carla Bosch, and we're both environmental residents.
Every year as ERs, we pick a theme, and this year our theme is environmental justice.
We decided to focus on food this month, and so that relates to environmental justice in a lot of ways, because there's communities where they don't have access to healthy food, which are food deserts, and there's a lot of times where people in low-income families can't afford to get those healthy items. They actually have a program with the farmers market where you can actually use food stamps, and you can use that in exchange to buy actual food at the farmers market, which is so nice.
Yes,
they do that.
And many of the farmers markets, at least in the Atlanta area, will double the amount of SNAP dollars that you spend. So if you give them $10 off of your EBT card, they'll give you back $20 in tokens to spend at the farmers market. That really ties into environmental justice, and along with that, food justice is providing access to healthy foods to everybody, regardless of their socioeconomic status. I'm also wanting to give you guys some tips on how to navigate a farmer's market, because it can be kind of new and a different experience, absolutely. There can be a lot of different vendors to choose from, so if it's a farmer, ask them about how their growing season was. It's a great way not only to really get a good understanding of the products that you're buying, but also to get to know the person in front of you who's created these products for you. And that's a purpose of the farmers markets as well. Not only to provide healthy food, but also to create a community space for people who want to eat healthy and live healthy lives. We wanted to pick out some sort of non-traditional ways of making these foods.
So we're gonna be making 3 different items, and one will be in the microwave, one will be on the stove, and one will be in the oven. So if you're in a dorm room or if you're in an apartment, super easy, quick things to make. And the first thing that's going to be in the microwave is kale chips. The second thing we're going to be making on the stove is a stir fry. And the third thing is going to be apple toast, which is going to be in the oven. And we got all of these items from the farmer's market.
We're going to start out with making kale chips. First thing you need, a plate.
And some kale.
So the great thing about this is you don't even need a knife or anything. You can just tear it off. So as we're doing this,
I probably want them a little bit smaller than that.
This big? So make sure that they're small pieces, as our friend Gwen said. She's also an environmental resident. Oh, we should rinse this. Should we? And actually this kale, although we got it at the farmer's market, you can also get it in our demonstration garden behind Bullock or by the tennis courts. So you can get this during the winter or during the early spring season. And if you want to volunteer with the garden, you can contact Lois Swords, and she's an alumni and she would love the help. We always love people helping out in the garden. Try to dry off, for the most part, the kale before you put it in the microwave. So we're going to be using olive oil and salt for the kale chips. You need the olive oil because otherwise it's not going to get crispy, it's just going to be soggy. And we're using salt, but you can also use like a bunch of different things. You can use nutritional yeast, which I know a lot of vegans like to eat. You can use garlic powder, you can use, anything. If you don't want salt on it, don't put salt on it. Make it your own thing.
Exactly.
So we're going to drizzle the olive oil onto the kale chips. And you don't really need to put that much, but you know, just a little bit. I just poured so much on there.
Ooh, that is a lot of oil.
We put a little bit too much oil, but that's okay.
It gets salty.
Look at it, isn't it beautiful? Okay, so we're gonna put this in the microwave for about 4 minutes. Okay, so now it's done. We're gonna take it out of the microwave. Oh my god, it's hot, it's hot.
Ooh, that's crispy.
Probably can't hear it.
And it smells really good, like kale.
When you're
Do you
not
want
talking.
one?
It just tastes like kind of like a potato chip almost.
Yeah, it has this very similar consistency of a potato chip. Yeah, I'm actually really surprised at how crispy it can get just from putting kale in a microwave.
I know, like this is kind of crazy actually. And it's like healthy, so I feel
It is
very healthy right now.
So So for our next dish, we're gonna do a stir fry with some seasonal vegetables that we've also bought at the farmer's market. For the vegetable part, the ingredients we're gonna be using are sweet potatoes, carrots, and red peppers.
You can make this in your dorm room actually if you have a hot plate, or you can make it in your apartment if you have a stove. And all these ingredients we got are seasonal, so it's sweet potatoes, carrots, and peppers. This is in season now. You could also put broccoli, which is also in season right now for the winter.
While you're cooking, you can also eat. So I'm gonna cut up some of this, get us some ranch, something to snack on.
We have like a misconception that we have to peel this carrot, but actually we don't. And actually you're gonna be wasting the carrot if you do that, so.
And saving yourself time, honestly.
I like that your knife has some ranch.
Isn't it cute?
And while she's cutting that, I'm gonna eat this, because I love peppers.
So you can eat it raw, or you can add ranch like I did. Oh yeah. Once you're done being distracted by eating, add in, if you're interested in adding in rice, this will be about when you'd start getting the water going on that. If the vegetables themselves aren't gonna fill you up enough, definitely add in a whole grain. All right, back to eating.
Okay, so also another thing that you don't have to peel is sweet potatoes. You can just rinse them and use them. These are vegetables that we cut up. So the carrots and the sweet potatoes are cut pretty small because it takes longer for them to cook, so you just want to make sure that they're pretty tiny. We're going to be using soy sauce and honey as like the main seasoning for the vegetables. And right now I'm going to go put this in the pan, and make sure you put a little bit of olive oil in the pan just so it doesn't stick. So for this we're going to be using a cast iron skillet, but you by all means do not need to use one. They can be very expensive, so you can use a non-stick frying pan or anything that you have really to use for frying. So now I'm going to put the stir fry ingredients in the pan. When you hear that sizzle, that means it's cooking. And you can stir it like every 1 to 2 minutes. You really don't need to like be stirring it constantly. But you know, make sure you watch it because you don't want it to burn, obviously. Now I'm going to put some soy sauce. I usually put a capful and then I go from there, like by adding more, just so you're not adding too much. This honey we also got from the farmer's market. It smells really good. It's making me so hungry actually. I'm not really putting a timer on this, like for how long you need to cook it. I usually get a fork and I will just check the carrots and the sweet potatoes just to see if they're done cooking. And I'm actually going to add a little bit more olive oil. And sometimes you have to do this just because it's getting stuck to the pan, but you know, if it's not, you can just leave it. If you don't have a cover like we do, you can use aluminum foil or something to cover it just so that it traps in the heat, because you want to make sure that the heat's really trapped in. But I'm going to try one of the carrots just to make sure. So good.
My turn.
It took like about 10 minutes to make, so it's very quick and easy thing to make.
Eating time. So for our final recipe, last but not least, we're gonna do sort of a dessert. It's featuring apples, which are in season up until probably January, mid-February, so definitely get your apples local while you can.
And we're in Georgia, so you know, you can get lots of apples here.
First, we have some rosemary, I believe rosemary sourdough bread from La Calavera Bakery. They're actually just down the street at Agnes. And we are going to slice it into little pieces of toast, basically.
And it's preferable to use a serrated knife, but if you don't have one, you can just use like a small knife. You can get, like at the Cab Farmer's Market, you can get bread that's already sliced.
All right, so Carla is gonna take over that for me. All right, let me go get us a pan to put in the oven.
Sorry. And these slices are a little uneven, but that's okay. They don't have to be perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna put the olive oil on while she's gonna start cutting the apples. And you just wanna make sure it's like a thin coat, so you can put some in the middle. And then just kind of like spread it out.
Oh, the star.
So I cut the apples like pretty thin, and you just want to cut the apple in half and then just chop it pretty small. And now I'm going to put the bread on the pan and start layering my apples on top. So something like this, kind of. I'm also gonna be using cinnamon and honey with the apples.
So the great thing about this dessert is that it's not going to be super heavy in sugar the way that you would with more traditional desserts like brownies or cookies. The main sweetness that you're going to be getting is from the apple itself and from the honey, obviously.
And so now we're gonna put a little bit of cinnamon on. So also, if you don't have an oven, which you know most of us don't, you can do this in a toaster. And if you don't have a toaster, because I know sometimes for some reason dorm rooms don't have toasters in the common area, you can just get apples, cinnamon, and honey. Like that's like a really nice snack. It's healthy, it's easy to make. Or you can put toast in a toaster and put apples and cinnamon and honey on top. Super easy.
We're gonna put it in the oven for about 5 minutes, and then we're gonna check it and see if it's ready to eat. All right, let's see how it looks.
Ooh, they look so good.
We initially put it in for 5 minutes, but it ended up being more like 10, and the oven was at 400 degrees.
It looks really good.
Ah!
What was that, Carla?
You want to be careful because the apples are not going to stay on. The cinnamon, the apple, and the honey, and like all of it together is just a really nice combination.
So good though.
So thank you guys for watching this video.
Please check out your local farmers markets. If you have any questions on what kind of farmers markets to go to, please ask one of our U or ERs. Look it up. There's a ton in Atlanta. And if you have EBT or SNAP, please, please, please use those resources. Double your dollars, get healthy food, take advantage of that. And please remember that eating local, sustainable food is not only better for your body, but it's better for your community and your environment that you're living in. Bye!
Thanks for watching.
Thank you!